What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age Mythology. The arrow keys are not working. Action in the left-hand corner of the map, spawning as the blue Isis. His name is Keto. His opponent today, in the red color, playing as the red Isis. A mirror matchup that you would never expect. He calls himself Mau Mau, but really this is Tunison. Now, I want to preface this. Before you guys switch over and go, I want to watch a mirror matchup. I was told that this mirror matchup was a good watch. I was told. So, it has to be a good watch. Okay? All right. So, I don't really know how the Isis mirror goes. The only people who are sort of maybe well-versed in the Isis mirror are those that sort of train specifically for it in the Champions League season, for the Champions League season 4. We didn't really get to see a whole lot of it in the actual tournament. The reason why people would have trained it is because Isis was sort of a contested pick, an S tier pick, an ace pick in Champions League season 4. Which did mean that if both players were going for Isis as their ace pick, you would want to play the mirror. Basically, if there was any god that was it was your ace tier pick, you could prepare for the mirror inside of that as well. So it's very, very simple. You just go, my ace tier is going to be Tsukiyomi. All right, I'm going to practice the Tsukiyomi mirror just in case we have it. And if it was Isis, you would practice the Isis one. If it was Poseidon, you would practice the Poseidon one. Obviously, if someone wanted to change their ace tier pick, their ace pick before the tournament, but in the middle of the tournament, they'd have to practice that mirror again. But it's just an extra matchup on top of everything else they already had to learn. So not a crazy amount more, but still. So I expect both of these. Well, I actually don't know about Keto because he didn't play, but I expect Tunison to have a lot of really cool ideas for this matchup that it would sort of play against what you would expect. So what do I mean by that? Well, the thing is, if someone wasn't prepared for this matchup, they might go, okay, if we have a think about it, play it through in our head, it's going to be this into this into this. Therefore, if I do, I'm going to do that, right? I'm going to go for that sort of an idea, which means that you can say, okay, what the most common thought strategy would be X, so we can metagame that with Y, basically. So I expect to see something interesting out of Tunison here. Whereas Keto, I expect him to go for a somewhat far second town center. They're both going Bast. No Bast. I have a thought here as well. Hear me out on this. If we're going to go for early prosperity, which both of these players are doing, and it seems to be the meta for Isis, whether or not it's actually good or not, or the best use of prosperity or not, I'm not actually 100% sure. But if this is what we're going to do, I feel like you should delay Flood of the Nile, go 2 villages faster at 4 minutes, a 4-minute advance time, get Flood of the Nile while you're advancing, and get your town center up 36 seconds faster, 2 villages faster, which would put you in front by 2 villages. Seems like a bit of an advantage, right? Of course, you have to pay off the... There's a lot of math that goes into it, but it seems like that would be the better move in this sort of a matchup. But maybe a fast second town center isn't the right way to go. That being said, Keto, he is moving forward quickly here. The Anubis is on the way. And Keto will have himself a middle town center with boars as Tunison is wandering forward. Tunison could be very spicy here. This is 30 seconds. He could wander straight over here, drop Plague of Serpents, shank down the villagers, attack this with his priests. He does not need to even go for the town center here. He could literally shank this. We could have a villager fight, but we're not having that. So it will be a little bit of a boom off to kick this game off, as a monument to the soldiers is also dropped behind this. Pharaoh getting a couple of shots off as the Anubite just going to jump to safety. And Tunison off to the races here on his boars. As we have, yeah, this is a very big boom off. Tunison is going to go straight for Sobek. He's only got the one monument up. And like, here's the thing. While Bast is the myth unit god, minor god, so to speak, Anubis is the myth unit spamming god. So you get so much extra favor from Necropolis and like a whole bunch of extra monuments. As we see the monument to the soldiers up over here. I wouldn't mind seeing the monument to the pharaohs also going down pretty early on as Tunison's grabbing himself both the market and the armory. And on the top side, the question is going to be, which way is Keto going to take this? He has the option to go Nephthys here. And that's what he's going to go for. So it's going to be a very spicy Anubis Sobek versus Bast Nephthys. So not really a mirror in the slightest here. Not really a mirror in the slightest. Is the priest wandering? Gonna sneak a cheeky little... That's a very, very spicy obelisk to come up here from our main man, Tunison, but he's feeling a bit risky with it as the wall's coming up over here. More obelisks coming up. Look at the map control. Look at the vision. This is what it feels like to play as ISIS. We got the entirety of the map. Now, obviously, this is one of those situations where both players are 2 town center fast heroicing, which basically just means it's really, really hard to deny this, and they're just going to have to clean these up a little bit later. But both players on the way to the next stage. I'm a little disappointed with the lack of monuments from Tunison. Like a 3rd monument, a 4th monument. Seems like it would be a really, really good idea here. Excuse me. But maybe it's a little too slow and he needs to be a little bit more careful about the Nephthys. You can put it down a little later, maybe. As we've also got the ads of wet to come through. I imagine he's already got himself that Sacred Cats tech in. So economically speaking, Keto is going to be in front here. But favor-wise, Tunison is going to be in front. Which basically puts us in an equal sort of situation, right? Like a little bit of extra economy, a little bit of extra favor. Both players win. Happy days. As the Plague of Serpents getting dealt with here with just one Sphinx getting healed up by a priest. I love that little tech there from Keto. No need to idle your villagers or risk this. And I guess Plague of Serpents just isn't that useful in this matchup. They could have dropped it onto this position just to make sure it's nice and safe. But nonetheless, Migdol Stronghold comes through. We do have the Spirit of Mart technology on the way already for Keto, as well as the Migdol Stronghold. Perfect timing for both of those as he hits 0 favor on that one. But not going for... Oh, excuse me. I should be talking about over here. Not going for the Sun-Dried Mud Brick. Now, I did see, whenever I watch Kavoth play, he does like to get Sun-Dried Mud Brick out before dropping the first Migdol. But the more I play with Sobek, the more I feel like first Migdol, we pay full price, and then we look in to grab that Sun-Dried Mud Brick. Just so we can get ourselves all of our units going, and it's all good. As the Petsukos here, they're a little bit in a spicy position. Got to be very, very careful with these guys. You want to put them almost behind the Migdol when you play versus Nephthys. Play really, really safe here because Nephthys has got the power of Ancestors Eclipse to push you. There's a big, big power imbalance here for one of these god powers. So you have to play defense through it. But the Scorpion men searching for a little cheeky raid into the main base. Going to be looking for an Ancestors Eclipse or something here. I don't really like that use. Especially given the wall situation here. You can very easily just pull out, move up to the top, eat the boards here, eat the gold mine, and sit on this position. As the Camel Riders starting to come through. Got 1 Siege Works, 2 Siege Works. They're pretty cheap at 75 gold, so making 2 of them, fair enough. But those Siege Towers are pretty costly. Scorpion Men just searching through here. And I think the idea here from Keto is to distract the priests down here. And then he can make a push. We are seeing some Camel Rider raids with the Anubite as well. So both players hitting each other's economy just a little bit. He's going to come up to the top, look for some more villager picks. I'm not going to be able to find them just yet. Now, Keto with the defensive pullback. He lost a little bit, but he gets one Camel Rider back, and Tunison going to have to pull all the way back here. Is this going to be a Camel Rider plus Petsukos, which is a really, really tough composition to beat. The only real answer... What's the answers to this? Because the hard part is to get onto the Petsukos, especially once he gets this technology Crocodopoulos. But a little bit of a stare down here. I'm still feeling like Tunison needs to be incredibly careful. Maybe the right move for Keto is actually to just jump to the Mythic Age. Probably through Thoth. And then just launch the Meteor. But the raid's going to come up to the top side. 18 Camel Riders. And on the other side, there's 18 as well. 19 here. But these have got Dark Waters. So they're a little bit stronger. As all the villagers will have to get idled. Just running through this main base, trying to pick off something. He does manage to hit those villagers on the wood line there. That's a big, fat raid there as Keto now forced to hit the go button. 3 siege towers, however, as the Petsukos will get caught out of position, and Keto comes in with his 12 priests. Ancestor Eclipse coming down. Locust coming down as well. As the priest charging in to take out another Petsukos. The next one going to be falling there as well as the main town center under attack. The Camel Riders going after these guys, but this is not what Tunison wants here. He loses his town center. The Siege Tower is going to roll through this next Migdol stronghold, and Tunison has to almost abandon this position. There's 100... Actually, maybe he doesn't. Once this Ancestors is done, that military difference looks like it's going to be favoring Tunison here. But he will be losing his Migdol stronghold, and that hurts a lot. Also, idle villagers, both players hurting on the villager count. 50 to 58, though, is favoring Tunison, but losing the Migdol. Going to be losing villagers over here as well. As now that the Ancestors dies, Tunison has to pull back, but he charges in with a couple more of those Camel Riders. And there's just siege towers here, so if he can clean up the rest of this, he should be able to take out those siege towers. But Tunison does have this bottom side to just pull back into. He does still have the villager lead, so he's got a little bit of time to just rebuild himself something. Maybe a Mythic Age as well as an idea to go Thoth, keep himself going. As the houses get picked off over here. Up on the top side. Tunison going to grab another Migdol here to secure this gold mine. And Keto, well and truly in the driver's seat now. He's going to get another Migdol up to grab this gold mine. He can grab the town center in the middle if he wants to. He could go Mythic Age if he wants to. Realistically, he's got such a big advantage that he can do whatever he wants here. Let's have a little check of the economic situation. Shaft Mine, Bowsaw not grabbed. Plow not grabbed either. On the other side, obviously no Plow, no Bowsaw, but Shaft Mine is in for Keto. So his economy is looking incredibly powerful here. As another prosperity gets dropped there as well for Keto. One thing that does help boost up that favor is the Eclipse. You get an extra 50% favor income for that 90 seconds or so. So it can help you get up to like another prosperity cast or another ancestors cast or a whole bunch more myth units. As the camel riders decide to charge in just a little bit. But with the Migdol and the monument empowerment there, it's a little too scary. And Tunison pulls back ever so slightly. Let's have a quick camel rider count. 23 to 20. You'd think at this point, though, now, you'd think that mixing in some spearmen would not go astray. But we do see chariot archers actually coming in on the side of Keto, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Maybe he's expecting spearmen? I don't know. Because chariot archers don't really do a whole lot in this matchup. Which is actually interesting. I mean, we've had like a year of Legacy, and the chariot archer has not had much of a role since Legacy. It used to be the only unit you built in the Egyptian mirror, and now it's only camel rider. It's funny how that sort of works. But I think you can build spearmen here without question. As the village is going to pull down to the bottom side. And Keto just massing up this big army, taking himself the middle town center. Migdol's coming up on the back gold mine. I wouldn't mind seeing like walls coming up over here and thinking about a market in this back corner there as well for a trade route for much, much, much later into the game. But the odds, they are very much stacked in Keto's favor for the moment here. As the siege tower is now on the way. Going to try and break through this, take out the temple, maybe take out the town center and all the other good stuff. We are going to be seeing just little bits of raids over onto this side as the villagers might have all gotten picked off up here. The villager differential here, even though it's 3 town centers to 1, still actually favoring, or ever so slightly favoring Keto, but just a tiny bit. As a 7k versus 5k army clash right into the middle. We've also got Scorpion Men sneaking into this army. They are going to be doing some very sneaky damage here, though the priests have become wise to this. As the siege tower is back onto the town center yet again. It is looking like Tunison is somewhat managing to hold through this as all the siege towers going down, and all of a sudden the army differential is not looking that bad for Tunison. He's only down by 1k and half of his army isn't even in here. He's still going for raids. He's still trying to take villagers out. The chariot archers at the back are just not going to be that useful here, especially with mercenary cavalry as an option to help out as the priest managed to take down those Scorpion Men. And the camel riders over here still searching for villagers to pick off. The army for Keto gonna pull back. Villagers over here going down. And the villager differential still equal, even though Keto has done all of this damage. Now Keto trying to get himself some units back out as Tunison, he's got one key in this game, and that key is W. And he is just going to be mashing W on this Big Dog stronghold for the entirety of this game. Great little surround here from Tunison as he does manage to take this fight nicely. Now the camel riders up to the top side looking for even more villagers to pick off. And this is those Darkwater camel riders just with that little tiny bit of HP regen. It allows them to just sit underneath sort of town center fire, kill the villagers off, take some damage, run away, heal that damage back up, and then go to the next spot. But this is something that Tunison has to do to stay in this game because the villagers are going to keep getting trained. That being said, for the moment now, Keto doesn't have any food income. He's got 9 villagers on food right now. Town center coming through here for Tunison as well. That's going to help him stay in the game a little bit more for the villager differential too. But Tunison is a little bit caught out over onto this position. Another prosperity. This time though, only with 23 villagers or 26 26 village, 23 villages.
In wedge.
So it's not a crazy amount of extra income. I think I worked it out to be... I can't remember what I worked it out to be. Was it 30 extra gold per villager? I think it was something like 30 extra gold per villager for the entire duration of that thing. Hang on, we can quickly work it out again. It's 80% of base. So base is like 0.8 something. Hang on, I'm going to work it out for you guys quickly. 0.77. So you get 80% of that. So it's like 0.6 times 0.6 by 60. And you get 30. Ha! Anyways, Camel Riders continue to get the raids in onto the front here, trying to keep going forward. Yeah, I don't know why no Spearmen. Normally you don't build Spearmen because of the Pitsukos. But in this situation, Spearmen make the most sense for both players to add in. But that being said, the Chariot Archers now are going to dissuade Tunison from going into Spearmen. Which does also raise the question of why not go Spearman Chariot Archer in this matchup a little bit. Of course, the Camel Riders will run around the map and rage you to death. But who knows? Siege Showers coming in to take the town center down. And Tunison doing what he can as the mercenary infantry popping out. They're not going to be enough here to take out those siege towers, but the remaining units here for Keto coming in. Is there enough Chariot Archer DPS here for Keto? He charges straight in with them as well, sitting right next to the Camel Riders. It's looking like there is enough blue stuff here as Tunison's army should be melting. But the town center falls. And Keto is still struggling to just get villagers training. He's just idle over here. He needs food income. Meanwhile, Tunison, he's onto his next town center. He's at 88 villages. He's grabbing the food in the corner of the map. We see another Migdol coming down for Keto. And the Camel Rider numbers continuing along. A little bit of an armory check. Keto does have all of the armory upgrades that he needs. More siege towers to come through here for Tunison as well, as he does manage to... Oh, doesn't quite notice the villagers there. Went straight onto the gold mine, but they'd already made a run for it. There's Keto in hot pursuit. Tunison has his eyes set on this middle yet again. If he can get the siege tower over here fast enough and deny that Migdol, it's 20 seconds until completion. That's a lot of bonus resources for him. Yeah, there is a dock over here, so Leviathan, a little bit of cheeky transport shenanigans would not go astray. A couple of villages up on this top side for Tunison. Very, very risky here. It does get spotted. Keto not going to be allowing that one. But both the Migdols managing to get up in the middle, allowing him to secure this food and this gold mine. There's still food kind of all over the map, but the real question is, like, how much do you want to risk your villages? That's why we see the farms up.
You need to.
As Keto pushing back in. The siege tower is off to do a little bit of a side push here. Always really, really risky to do those side pushes for the siege towers. They're really expensive. That's like 900 resources. There. Another prosperity from Keto. Keto is just like, I don't want to build Myth Unit. Let me just spam prosperity nonstop here. That was an 80 favor prosperity. I think it's like something like 900 bonus gold from that 90 favor. That's kind of okay. That's kind of like a worthwhile trade. You're just basically trading favor for gold. And what your gold mines are going to be expiring, I guess, a little bit quicker. Well, 80 favor. 80 favor. 80 favor for 900 gold. Couple houses going down. I think the siege towers... I don't know where they went. I might be blind. They've all died. There's Tunison's Camel Riders continuing to break through. Please, Keto, Your camel riders suck. Make spearmen. Force Petsukos. We are seeing some extra monuments now up for Tunison, so he does have that option of either making Petsukos or mummies. Mummies are actually really good versus the spearmen as well, which might be another reason to not go for them. There's now got Thoth to come through. Scorpion Man would work, but you have to micro them. So if there's ever priests, you run. If there's no priests, they get a huge amount of extra value, for sure. Myth units always have value. There's never a situation where myth units are just absolutely garbage, except for maybe versus China, in some situations, because they've got some very, very nice anti-myth unit stuff, and maybe versus Atlantean. But versus everyone else, the heroes, you can play around heroes really, really nicely with good control. Ancestors versus another prosperity. I'm thinking of the prosperities just because Keto's economy is a little bit whack. They're going to be seeing Thoth versus Osiris. So everybody's just going completely different angles here. I like the Osiris in this situation. Reason being is Thoth, while Meteor is going to be really, really helpful, the value of the Kings isn't going to give any value. Reason being is you're already at full pop. So you're just going to leave that Pharaoh sat on a Migdol, not really doing anything. When you're at full pop, you have to continuously pull it off, and then when the fights happen, you put it back on the Migdol. It's a little bit of micro, but whereas Son of Osiris gives Mummy, or Osiris gives Son of Osiris, and then mummies and an extra Pharaoh and all the other good. Never mind prosperity. I think this prosperity was really bad from Tunison. Definitely going for mummies here is a must. Well, some sort of myth unit. Neither player making priests. It's like, okay, spend the favor, get the myth units out, and then force priests. Nonetheless, Keto charging into this main position here. Is there? I think there is. I think he can drop the meteor over here, and he can drop it straight in as the Camel Riders dive into the Migdol stronghold, pulling off onto the left side here. Huge damage to come in onto this position as every spot getting hit with these meteors, but only a handful of houses actually end up going down. Siege towers, however, starting to target down the main town center. And the big question here is, will Osiris be enough? Pharaoh making his way over here. There is no temple for Tunison either, so he doesn't get that free mummy in. Town center trying to get repaired back up as the siege tower will end up going down, and the town center survives, and Keto not able to break through. And only now Spearman's starting to come in because Keto knows he can't continue to play Camel Rider versus Camel Rider. These Camel Riders are going to be way too quality. Desert Winds plus Dark Waters is going to be an absolute mission to get through. So the real secret here for Keto, or for playing in this situation with Thoth, is to get the entirety of the map walled up. Make sure you go up to stone gates, if not fortified, or stone walls, if not fortified walls, to make that all work. Beautiful little Migdol stronghold over here to defend. And then get the spearmen out. And then you just have to be careful against mummies. So there's a lot to be careful about. But it can definitely work here. We'll see if we can get the upgrades in. Heavy spearmen on the way. Champion chariots as well. How many barracks does he have? He's got 10 barracks in, so plenty. He just needs a lot more farms. But the time, I don't know if the timing is in for this sort of a switch. We'll have to wait. Catapults? Realistically, all Keto needs to do is hold. Making these siege weapons can stop the forward Migdols from coming in, I guess. There's more spearmen in. We're also going to have that iron weapons to come through. Villagers will make their way up onto this top side, but the Camel Riders don't quite manage to stop them. They're just going to get a couple of kills before pulling back. Champion spearmen now on the way. So this Son of Osiris sort of sitting out in the middle. Chariot Archers trying to spot this one. Spearmen going after the Camel Riders there. Now, the big question is, these Spearmen have got no special upgrades apart from Deathly Donative. So they get 8 gold back when they die from funeral rites. That's the only real boost that they've got. But realistically, Keto just needs to keep sitting back and waiting here. Trying to take this fight here. He picks off that catapult. He can pull back afterwards. He is starting a trade route as well. Does he have 2 camel riders? He does. Of course, he's going to be running out of gold soon. Both players are. But just sitting back behind these Migdol strongholds and just playing defense is the only real option here. Son of Osiris is going to get so much value. He hits like 3 or 4 targets, right? 3, wait. Yeah, 3 additional targets at this. At 57.8 deep damage per shot. As the Phoenix will come in, get a little bit of damage done before it does end up going down. Makito still needs to set up more farms. He needs farms. Take these villagers off of this gold. Spam the farms down. Can't buy food either. You probably need to go up to 40 villagers on farms because you're building 2 camel caravans. On the other side, Tunison also spamming out his own camel caravans here. But now the mummy plague is in, and this is where things get really scary. This is the problem with Spearman in general versus the camel rider. And it's just Betsukos, Mummy, Phoenix even. All of those units are really, really good versus the Spearman. So you do have to figure out how you're going to deal with those. Answers here for Keto. Another Meteor, perhaps? One good clean Meteor to kill off those. Of course, he has to wait for the favor to come in. But one good clean Meteor could be enough here to take out that backline. And then he can actually take some really good fights. He is now up to 100, 280 pop. Tunison also at 280 pop. Is this going to be enough? He's got to get that Pharaoh involved as well. He does have Ancestors if he wants, but it's not a really good decision to be dropping that one. And now look at this. All of the minions starting to come through. He's up to 12, 13 minions from those mummies. As the villagers are all going to be falling on the front, and Keto, he needs some priests or something to deal with these bad boys. The Chariot Archers are holding, but now the Migdol Stronghold goes down. Military differential is still quite close. As the Pharaoh will start getting involved onto one of those Mummy Vizier. He pulls that one back, and now the Son of Osiris and Camel Riders can snipe down the Pharaoh. Managing to at least pick off one, as another Prosperity coming through does hit the trade caravan, so they drop off a little bit more gold or something when they pull into the, or they move faster. I'm not actually sure what it is. I think they move faster. Nope. They work 20% faster. I don't know. Maybe they grab more gold from over here. Yeah, they grab more gold from the town center. But Tunison has managed to push through here. Has managed to make this push work. He gets himself another gold mine as well. Not that he really needs it. Taking down all of the siege works. Another Migdol stronghold on the way. And Keto about to lose this town center. The game is not really 100% lost for Keto at the moment, but it's a very, very tough route ahead of him. Middle of the map secured. This town center going to be falling. Units in the main base at the very least will end up getting picked apart. But as the middle goes down and Tunison takes everything for himself, it's looking like Keto's chances in this game are going to be dwindling here. I think the big thing is grabbing this gold mine as well. An extra 4,000 gold to play with. But this is the only gold mine he's got. On the other side, there's no gold mines for Keto, though he does have himself 29 camel caravans, so it's not like he's got 0 gold income. It's very, very tough to get himself out an army. That's the catapults. We'll clean up the rest. He can grab this town center next. I don't know what else Keto has in store for us. He's just sitting back waiting to get this army back out. And Tunison will now be able to creep up even more in the population advantage. He's got himself 7 mummy vizier at the moment. The only way to deal with this is to get out like 15, 20 priests or something. Keto drops another prosperity. It's just nothing but prosperity. This really doesn't give you a lot of extra gold. It's well worth it if you've got nothing else to spend the favor on. If you're really struggling for gold, which Keto obviously is. But maybe realistically a whole bunch of Scorpion Men, another Ancestors Eclipse instead of the prosperity, but like 3 Scorpion Men, Ancestors Eclipse, and just try to snipe the Son of Osiris. There's ballistics coming through to... Is that... That's a ballistics that doesn't even matter. There's no... Actually, does this affect the mummies? It does. It matters on the mummies. There's a handful of priests are out, but I don't know if this is going to be enough. The Migdol Stronghold spam coming through to just finish this game off. There's just more mummies coming. It's like, let me just get more of them. And the spearman will come through and try and pick off a couple of these bad boys. Realistically, I think if you're going to take these fights, you want to just charge him with 10 spearmen or something. Soak the... And then run back. Get the mummy spit onto your units and then run back so they don't die and produce a whole bunch of minions. Because now you're fighting against... You're fighting against all of these minions, which is so strong. But in the end there, Tunison somehow manages to bring this game back as Keto just could not help himself, really. He was in such a commanding position. I think if he just played it slow, sat on his town centers, got his walls up, went Mythic Age, defended the raids a little better, I don't think there was anything here that Tunison could do. But because Keto went full ham to try and take the town center down, and obviously credit where credit is due for Tunison's raids, he really played that one from behind very well. Pulled himself back, killed off all the siege towers, huge hit to the like economic powerhouse that Keto was. Then the Thoth comes in, and I think you want to hold on to that meteor if you're ever going Thoth until you can see what your opponent's doing, because you want to basically use meteor on top of an army, and on top of an army you can't kill is even better. On top of a Son of Osiris, on top of a mummy. If your opponent does end up going Thoth, now we can just nuke our opponent wherever we want. But and that meteor did not get the value that he was expecting. And this Son of Osiris with 10,461 damage, 52 kills. And the mummies also with 30 kills there as well. That doesn't really account for how many minions they managed to spawn. That was able to carry Tunison to victory. If you guys enjoyed this one, please consider the follow on the Twitch. If you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next game.